G'day everyone, welcome back to another Fantasy and SuperCoach review video on the channel. Going to be going over my teams from round 12. Hopefully all you lots went well this week, but as always we start off with my fantasy, and I think it's safe to say that unfortunately from round 12 it is the final nail in the coffin. What a disaster it has been for fantasy this season. 1660, and we're all the way out to 17k overall. I mean, I've had, I think, 3 years in a row of finishing, I think, around roughly in the top 5k, so just isn't my year. Holding Rosie's turned out to be a bad decision. Trading Marshall, for example, and my captain scores have been awful this year too, and a lot of underperforming premiums. Captain Dawson, oh dearie me, he got me a 60. That was, that just killed my week instantly, right from the get-go, from that first Saturday game. I was busy that morning, so I didn't realise that apparently Dawson was needing to pass a fitness test. So then I come home, and halfway through the second term, he's on like 17 points. So, yeah, disappointing stuff there, but yeah, it just isn't my year, unfortunately. But oh well, we always keep positive, we keep on punching, and we'll aim to push into the top 10k and try and aim for a good rank. We'll play for pride. That's what we always like to do. But yeah, a little bit of positives, like Gordon and English, both went well from a fantasy point of view. I was greedy on taking 𝐓𝐴𝐸 110 VC. Flanders continues to be so consistent. But yeah, like just trading out premiums and having to get rid of Rosie. There's our trades, by the way. We're just having to field more and more rookies. We want to get rookies off the field, but we can't. Jordan Sweet was a failure. We went down to Harrison. We went Rosie out to Sarong and Richards out for McAuliffe, which I guess are okay trades. I still really rate Harrison as a player, but had a quiet day at the office. But I think he'll bounce back against the D's on the King's birthday match next Monday. Sarong got a 106 as my next trade in, but he's a gun. He'll average well for the rest of the season, you'd think. And I was pretty low on round 13 players. And Richards, shunned out his injury, he's out for McAuliffe. And McAuliffe is on about 50 at half time and then literally had a 5-point second half. So, yeah, just burnt out a little bit with fatigue, which was sort of the common theme for a lot of those Tigers players as they did fade out of that game against the Cats. But a pretty gallant effort. But yeah, through the line. So Nick Dacos, again, was very good on Friday night against the Dogs. Racked up the pill. Was much better by foot. He probably would have gotten the 3 votes should have the Pies went up, but Bontempelli just outclassed him. He really carried his team over the line. But yeah, probably should have taken the Dacos VC in the end. Cost me, in the end, 50 points. So not ideal there. Nick Martin just keeps on keeping on with pretty consistent 90-plus scores each week. Hacked the ball a little bit too much, though. Had a few bad disposals, but from a fantasy point of view, it's totally fine. Shuzo had the bye, but we had no cover with Howes getting dropped. Hayden Young got a 108, so just week in, week out, this guy continues to be so consistent. Had himself a really good game. I felt, it was just so damaging by foot from what I did witness today against the D's, and what a shellacking that was. Well, the Dockers really came to play. But he's been really under the radar this year, Young. He just, week in, week out, puts up good numbers and plays some good footy. Riley Bonner, disappointing. Got a 60. I just think the big wide open ovals don't really suit him for him to get a lot of marks. How many marks did he get? Let's have a look. Just the 3 marks, and last week he got 2 marks. We all know with Bonner he needs a lot of marks to get his score up for fantasy. But I think it's time to say goodbye for him. But he's been a really good starting pick. Like, I think he was around 450k. And yeah, he's gained a lot of money for us. So I can't be too mad that the past 2 weeks he's dropped 60s, but he's been still really solid. So yeah, I think it's time to say goodbye to Bonner. He's done his job. We're still holding Sam 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐸 with all these trades and etc. We're probably going to have to keep him for another week. He's got the Saints this week, so maybe could score well. But yeah, a bit of a quiet score. Only the 49, 79 break even. So could look to move him on, but probably have to keep him at D6 for another week. Moving into the midfield now, so yeah, Dawson, massive disappointment. As I said before, didn't realise that he needed to pass a fitness test and was on about 15 points halfway through the second term. Apparently it was like a foot complaint or something, so not ideal stuff there. And yeah, just a really quiet game. But as I say again, his last 5 weeks, his 5-week stretch has been very good. Like, look at all these numbers. Like, he's been really consistent this year for fantasy. Just had himself a really off game, but if you have a look here for the remainder of his fixtures, look at all this. He's got so many games at the Adelaide Oval, and he's got the Tigers next week. So I think that's Thursday night footy, that game. So let's hope he bounces back and puts up a big score. Strong was pretty good in the trenches today against the Ds. Didn't really get many marks so to help his score. Kicked a lovely banana from the boundary though. How about that? That was special, which helped himself to get to another ton. But yeah, I brought him in because he's just a gun. And need to bring in those keepers during the buys and just lock him away for the rest of the season. Let's hope for some nice ceiling scores from him very soon. Jack Steele was on 0 at quarter time. He had himself, I think, about 95% time on ground. He could not touch the ball, but then had about a 50-point second quarter and resurrected his score. So I'll definitely take a 96 considering he was on 0 at quarter time. 𝐓𝐴 Miller, again, disappointing. Thank goodness he had that goal late. A bit of a freebie it was, the 50-minute penalty, a bit of controversy there. Yeah, the umpires blew the whistle quite a bit in that final quarter, the Suns and Essendon game, but still he's been a very disappointing starting selection this year. His average has been 96. Like, bloody really just poor stuff there. I thought he'd really own it this year, but just can't find enough of the footy to score well. I was hoping for a lot more this year, but just isn't to be. Kane Horn as well had himself a quiet game. Just couldn't get his hands on it. I mean, the D's midfielders were very quiet. They just could not get their hands on the pill. The Dockers just outdid them in the contest. So, look, he's back at the G, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's back at the G against the Pies. So, back in the home of footy. Let's hope he bounces back with some better scores. But he's not looking like a great trade-in. I brought him in last week, and he's given me an 85 and an 86. So, there's a reason that he's gone down to around 700k. It's because he's just out of form. He still doesn't really look probably 100%. So, yeah, it is what it is, but everybody has him, really. Jeremy Sharp just continues to put out good scores, good again on the wing. With just how Fremantle play, it really suits him to get a lot of points. He's got the bye this week, so I could look to flip him, but I think with my trades, I might be able to hold him for another week or two. Kane McAuliffe was on 50 at half-time, then had about a 6 or 5 point second half, but yeah, did fatigue himself out. Couldn't run out the game, which is fair enough. They have a lot of young bodies in there, the Tigers. But there's barely any other rookies, so let's just pray that he puts out some good points, and then we can flip him during that round 15 bye. Still holding 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴, and he's gained 5k. How about that? He beat his break even, so happy with that, but I think it's time to move him on. And then 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴 with the buy, and hopefully 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴 can make his way back into the team. Rucks are very good, 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴 122, and English 116. 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴 considering him for the captain, but didn't choose to put it on him. Was good around the ground as per usual, just a typical 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴 game. And English was able to get a lot of marks and get those disposals under the roof. He plays well at Marvel English to get those fantasy points, and he's got a good run coming home with a lot of Marvel games. So let's hope for a lot more 110 pluses. For the forward line now, pretty disgusting. Have a look at that. But Sam Flanders was good, 113. Just so consistent, playing that behind the ball role. Harley Reid, beast modes, was on about 80 at half-time, and then he could not touch the ball in the second half. Had a horrific second half. Got nullified really well by 𝐼𝐴𝐿𝐴, and now he's unfortunately suspended for 2 weeks. So there's his rising star, all gone. Unfortunately, he's been really good the past few weeks. The breakout game against the Swans, I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, time to move him on. Jack Macrae, happy with that, a 97. Could have gotten a little bit more. Really good first quarter. Kicked 2 goals, which, when was the last time Macrae kicked 2 goals in a game? Yeah, got himself into the game a lot more, marked the ball a lot at half forward, and yeah, was good by foot. And even when Macrae's putting out some bad scores, I still, stick fat with him. I still think he's quite good with disposals. So yeah, happy to get a 97. A lot of people trade out Macrae as well, so that's good to see from my point of view that he's repaid the faith. I've repaid the faith with him. Darcy Wilson, quiet game, couldn't really get going. Fun with the ball quite a bit. Got pinfall on the ball a couple of times as well. But he's still a first-year player. He's going to have some ordinary performances. He probably did hit the wall a little bit. But yeah, we'll look to probably move him on during that round 15 bye and upgrade him. But we could look to move him on now. But with my trades, I'll just keep him for another week. Who's he got this week? He's got the Suns back at Marvel, so he could score well again, let's hope. Joel Frazier, been a good rookie, just 60 pluses week in, week out. Back-to-back 60 pluses for me since I've brought him in. Looks pretty poised back there at halfback. He makes good decisions and is able to rack up those marks as well. And Harvey Harrison had himself a really quiet game, but he's a small forward, so he's going to have some bad scores. But I still really rate him as a player. Still think he's best 22 at the moment. Against the Pies, maybe we could see him get a bit of a cameo with maybe 2 or 3 goals once again on the big ground of the G. And yeah, Fisher, Lohmann, and Powell all out with the buys. So yeah, 1660, just a round we like to forget. And yeah, our season's over, but we still want to finish off well and play with pride and try and nail the trades for the second half of the season, because our team value is still very good again. These are what my trades are going to look like for this week. So Riley Bonner's got to go. Back-to-back 60s for him. Look, he's still a player that will easily get some ceiling scores for the remainder of the season, but with the break-even of 118, he's just got to go. And considering we can downgrade, yes, downgrade Bonner to Tom Green. Like, who'd have thunk it at the start of the season you could do that? I think we can't say no to that. So in comes Tom Green, off his bye. His last few scores have been poor, but surely he's freshened up now, his body, and he can now go back to putting out some big scores like he was able to do the first 3 rounds of the season. Plus he's highly owned as well. Let's bring him in. And there are barely any rookies this week, so surely there's going to be some debutantes. We'll get rid of Graham. And I saw Jacob Blight for the Tigers, the mid-season pickup, had himself a really good game on the weekend. So maybe he gets the chance at getting a debutant this week. So if that's the case, we'll bring him in. But surely there's going to be a basement rookie we can pick up. We'll probably just go with them. Given that our bench, we still have some, a lot of cash up players like Lohmann to get rid of, etc., and Howes as well. And then, for the final trade, Harley Reid's got to go with his suspension. And let's bring in Errol Goulden. His 5-round average is pretty good. It's, 109. And I don't know if a lot of people have heard, but I'm assuming people have heard that he's pushing to get 100% time on ground. He's just an absolute animal. Off the bye too, I think his second half of the season, just like last year, he can be very good. And he plays that really good fantasy-style game with a lot of marks. And just runs from contest to contest so well. He's a great kick too. He's just a solid player, so I think we bring him in. His last 5 games have been fairly quite good, and again, pushing for that 100% time on ground. He knows where the footy is. He knows how to find the footy. Let's bring him in at 933k. So we're going to be bringing in 2 round 12 players, which I think is probably the key. Suits our buys quite nicely. Another option I am considering is Josh Dunkley. He's a little bit expensive. He's got a high break-even of 131. But he's only gone under a ton twice this year, so considering him as well, but for 50k cheaper, maybe we go with Goulden instead. Plus, I'm a Swan supporter. I love watching Errol play, so our season's basically over anyway. Let's just bring in Goulden, and you never know, he might go bang in this second half of the season. Went very well last year post-bye, and let's hope for the same again this year. Okay, let's now move across to SuperCoach, the format which we are going much better in compared to Fantasy, but still, we had a bit of a down week, unfortunately, just like Fantasy in round 12. Got ourselves a 1986. A lot of disappointing primo scores this week. I thought I'd slide down the rankings, but I only slid down 114 spots, still sitting in the top 500. So, I mean, I'll take that, to be honest. And this is probably my best round coming up in terms of buys. I've only got 3 round 13 players. But anyways, let's move on to the team. But yeah, still not a good enough score. We had a lot of disappointing scores. Dawson, terrible, 55. Oliver with a 73, just wasn't very efficient with it. Had a lot of hack kicks and turnovers with hand passes. I mean, 𝐓𝐿𝐴 Miller as well was looking like he was going to get a 70 or an 80. But he got like 40 points from kicking that match winner, which was pretty fortunate. So we're lucky with him. We were always going to trade out Bonner this week. We were just hoping for maybe one last good game on his exit, but couldn't supply the goods, so he was disappointing as well. And we only had 19 on field this week too. Wilson 54, Harrison 42. So yeah, disappointing score. But we captained Daicos to kick things off. How good was that? I was happy with that. But then Bont went 186, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's not as good, but you'd still take a massive captain score. So let's have a look at the trades. What I did from last week as we go to trade history. I'll scroll down. So we traded out 𝐼𝙗𝐿𝐴, John Sweet, and also 𝐼𝐗𝐿𝐴 Garcia. And we brought in Kane Horn, Harvey Harrison, and Merritt. So if you watched my video last week, I was going to be bringing in Sarong, but I had to bring in like one of those basement rookies like Will Dawson or something, and I don't know about doing that. So I decided to go with Harrison McAuliffe because these are 2 players I think are quite good. Really rate Harrison, but a bit of a quiet game. Still got a negative break-even, so I think he'll bounce back. And McAuliffe looked very good. Just a shame, though, that he was on like 60 out at half-time, and he literally ended on 68 at full-time. So we could have gained a lot more money for us. But looks good in that midfield, I think, with all those outs at the moment. So hopefully he can push to close to 300k because he's got 2 more games to the bye. But Merritt was an okay in. Probably should have gotten a bit more. I think he was on like 70 at half-time. So disappointing finish from him. The issue at the moment probably would be we've got quite an amount of round 14 players. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But we're probably going to look to flip Oliver next week to like a Tom Green or something. But let's just go through the line. So Captain Dacos, very good, 156, so effective by foot, was damaging, probably one of his most impactful games this season. Yeah, awesome. Moving on. Luke Ryan, 124, absolute seagull this guy, got about 20 marks or something, just every time Freo won it, chip back to Luke Ryan. Chip back to Luke Ryan. Oh, you would have been pulling your hair out if you were a non-owner, so... Yeah, him trading Hayden Young to Ryan back in round 2, I'm pretty sure, before his first price rise, was probably one of my best decisions this year in SuperCoach. Dan Houston got a 98, finished the game a little bit disappointingly. He could have gotten a little bit higher. I was scaling to be 1 there as well because the game was somewhat close at the start of the 4th term before it blew open. Jeremy McGovern was good once again. I think he was on like 35 at half time, but turned into an intercepting beast in that 4th quarter and got to another 110 plus. So yeah, good trade, and he's been a good decision over Nick Martin in the end, because I think he got like an 80 or something today. Harry Sheezel with the bye. 𝐬𝐿 will come in this week. Riley Bonus, yeah. I was always going to trade him out to Fisher for this week. Was hoping for maybe one last big game, but just wasn't to be. So look, he'll self-ceiling scores, I think, for the remainder of the year. But look, to be honest, with Bonner, he's been a great starting pick. And the last 4 weeks, I can't really complain. I think I've been pretty lucky, to be honest. His last 4 weeks were pretty good. 98, 108, 187. So, look, we'll send him off. Thank you for your service. Midfielders now, Bont, 186. I was happy enough with my Dacos score, but I didn't know how to feel. Bont had like an 80-point final quarter. He went through the roof. Yeah, carried his team over the line. Just a Bond-esque game. So good. Just effective by foot. Was able to kick the goal moving forward too. Took the mark in the goal square. Massive game he had. With 𝐓𝐡𝐿𝐼𝐻, to be honest, I felt he'd go massive. I think he was on like 80 points at 3/4 time. So it could have paid off. But he had like 3 touches in the final quarters. So unfortunate. But yeah, has the bye this week. So hopefully he can freshen it up. Dawson. Terrible. 55. Just nowhere near it. Jogging a lot. Couldn't get a lot of the ball. It was just crouch and lead in there, and he just wasn't getting any of it. 𝐼𝐻𝐿𝐼𝐻 had a good game too. Yeah, I thought he'd go big, given it was the MCG, but just wasn't to be. He was just nowhere near it, and it was just overall a really rough day for the Crows. So, as I said in the fantasy segment, he's got a lot of games that they are laid over this year for the remainder of the season. And let's hope for a lot of big scores to come. So yeah, we brought in Zach Merritt. So this week, not ideal, but it's more of a long-term pick. He should. The reason I brought him in is because last year post-buy he went like 120. So I think he can go really big post-buy as well. And he's got the Blues this week, Sunday night at the MCG. So could go massive in those big games at the G. 𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐻 Miller, how fortunate is this? 108. He kicked the goal late. Goal that added plenty of controversy to that 50-minute penalty. But he gained like 40 points from it. I couldn't believe it. I was... yeah, pretty ecstatic with that because, yeah, he was so ineffective today. A lot of hand passes went directly to Essendon players. Just panicking a lot by disposal. Was not clean at all. So, yeah, very lucky with that. But, you know, we'll keep the faith in him. I think his lowest score this year has literally been like 85. So, he's still been a good player, but his last few weeks has been a little bit off. But post-buy, let's hope he's freshened up and around and go and scores a lot better. Sam Walsh was very good, 111. Not really getting much of the champion data love, though. Yeah, had a few turnovers, but he was just awesome in that second half to get the win over Port Adelaide. Just got a stack of it. Really was, alongside Cripps were the two players that really lifted Carlton's clearance game as they marched on towards their very good win on Thursday night. Jack Steele with a 118 was on about 5 points at quarter time, had a 50-point second term, and ended on a 118. He just tackled his way and got a lot of those in and under ground ball gets to get to a 118. So happy with that. Yeah, that's pretty much it with Jack Steele. He's a little bit up and down the last 2 months or so. So if he's getting a ton, we're happy with that. But Clayton Oliver, though, a 73, very disappointing. You know, the past few weeks we felt, is he 100%? Possibly he's pushing there, like his match fitness has been better as the weeks have gone on, but I think let's just pretend that game never happened, because overall it was a shocking day for Melbourne. They were battered collectively as a unit in and around the contest. They got smashed in clearances and contest possessions, you know, back at the MCG this week too, so look, should really bounce back, you'd think. It still is Oliver, he still is a quality player, and look, that's his lowest score for quite some time as well, so look, big game against the Pies Monday. I think he can bounce back and get a good score. But yeah, a lot of people probably look to move him on this week. We'll just probably flip him in his bye and maybe bring in like a Tom Green or something. But yeah, not ideal. We want him to score well during these bye rounds. Midfielders on the bench, Sullivan with a 61, McCall with 68, so yeah, very good. They'll continue to make some money. They've got 2 games left before their buys, and they're both in the negative break-evens, which is good. Just the one ruck this week, Max Gawn, yeah, pretty ineffective with his hit-outs. Had a lot of hack kicks forward as well. Just the 95, but even when he's playing bad games, he still gets 90 pluses. He's just that good of a player. And yeah, Grundy with his buy, so... yeah, I know a lot of people have like English and Marshall, etc. So yeah, it's good to now have Grundy raring to go. For the forward line now, Heaney with his bye, but Flan is consistent as ever with 119. Yeah, I mean, he's only gone under a ton once this year, hasn't he? No, he's literally gone over. He's gone a ton every game. Like, this guy's just an absolute SuperCoach pig, so you'll love to see it. Jack McRae repays the faith for me. Very good. Got a ton. Kicked 2 goals in the first quarter. Had about a 50-point first term, so happy with that. And look, I never want to be too reactive. His game last week, he just didn't get enough of it. Like, he got a 60 here, but ever since I traded him in round 7, he's gone 79, 81, 86, 92. I mean, these are, for how bad the forwards are, these are keeper numbers. So, yeah, it was an off game against the Swannies, but I felt he bounced back, got a 101. So, yeah, that's good. If he can just chip away with 80 pluses week in, week out, that's fine with me, because what else is there for forwards? I know there's Dylan Moore who went off, but he's inconsistent. I'm considering bringing him in this week, though. We'll see. But yeah, happy with a ton. Darcy Wilson, probably, yeah, I think maybe we're going to have to look to move him on. I was thinking, could this guy be a keeper? Maybe we're pushing our luck, because this guy's a first-year player. He's going to have some down games. He fumbled quite a bit, was not very effective. So, down game for him. Still a first-year player. Still a very good player, though, too. He's back under the lid this week against the Suns, so maybe he bounces back. I don't know. I'll consider maybe moving him on. I'm not too sure yet. And then, yeah, the 2 rookies, Harrison and Fraser. Fraser very good again. Another 60-plus score from him, but Harrison, 42. Just couldn't get his hands on it, so... I think he had a pretty decent game against in the King's birthday game last year. So, look, big game in the G. He's had some good performances on the MCG. So, maybe a 70+, who knows? We could be on for a good score, let's hope. And then, yeah, 𝐓𝐸𝐿 the buy and Joe Richards I'm going to be bringing out this week via trade. So, yeah, disappointing week it was, but we're still in the top 500. We're still in the top 500 on a bit of a down week. So, let's get to the trades now. So, yeah, Bonner's got to go for this week. I was going to... regardless of how well he scored, he was always going to come out for me. And yeah, 𝐸𝐿𝐻 is going to move into D6. And then yeah, Joe Richards is also going to come out. Yeah, I mean, there's basically no one else for me to trade out. That's somewhat cashed up. It's a shame again that Richards is out, but he's a dead rookie. He won't be back till post-buy with his injury, so he's got to go. Yeah, so let's bring in the rookie of choice. So Will Dawson is definitely one. He could play his 3rd game this week. If he's named, I'll probably go with him. Another option is Blight. Really good game in the VFL. He could debut. For now, we'll just go with Blight. Stick him in defence, and we'll swap him with 𝐸𝐻𝐻. And the forward of this week, we said in last week's episode, this is always going to be locked in. Let's bring in Zach Fisher. I wanted to bring him in the week before, but couldn't because he had a round 12 bye. But now we can bring him in. Still under 500k as well, so we'll complete those trades. And yeah, that's actually bringing now... we're actually getting a rookie off the field, because remember, 𝐸𝐻𝐻 comes off the bench. He takes place of a rookie, and Fisher takes place of a rookie in the forward line. So, yeah, we have 3 out this week. Yeah, only 3 out. Sullivan or McCall if we'll loop, and then we can field Blight. So we will have 21 on field this week, which is pretty good. So this should be a strong round from us. Let's hope. We need to have good scorers. We need Dawson, Miller, and Oliver to bounce back and play better games for us. And Grundy's also going to be returning from the bye as well in the rucks, which is good. Now, we talked about Wilson. I'm also considering trading out Wilson. Now look at this. I can just afford Dylan Moore. I have 9k left over. Do I do it? I don't know. Moore, before he got a 170 or whatever, he kicked 5 goals, for goodness sake, against a depleted Adelaide side. I still don't know about Moore, because, like, look at his numbers before this game. 76, 66, 73. Like, yeah, he gets centre bounces, but he has quiet games and everything. So, I really don't know. And looking at my forward line, I've still got 1 rookie left in my forward line. I'm planning to bring in, I really want to bring in Isaac Rankin post-buy. So, yeah, is there space for more? Like, is he a viable option? I really don't know. Another option too is Riley Sanders. Back-to-back pretty good games. He was the sub in this game against the Swans, got a 73, but yeah, 98 against the Pies. Like, surely he can now keep a spot on the side. Like, we'll see this week if Richards will come back in, 𝐓𝐿𝐴 will come back in. If he's still on the team, still in the 22, like, I think he's an option to snap up. So Sanders is another option. Yeah, for now we'll just lock in more, just because our team looks a bit neater that way. We'll just lock in more for now, but I still don't know. I know he had a very good game. He's a great player, but I think Rankin could be the better option for me. And then Zorko comes in this week too. But yeah, that's what the forward line would look like if we go with Dylan Moore. But I don't know. I prefer to go Isaac Rankin. Let me know in the comments what you think. But yeah, maybe Dylan Moore for now. Yeah, but that's what the team is looking like. We've still got a boost left. We still have 10 trades remaining. But I think Wilson's probably got to go with that high break even. And yeah, he's still a first-year player. It's a tough one. It's a really tough one. But yeah, Fisher locked in for this week. Bonner gone, and 𝐸𝐿𝐴 returns from injury and also the bye. Okay, let's have a quick look at the league. So we'll go to my league. Still leading my league, which is pretty cool. 𝐼𝐿𝐴 𝐼𝐿𝐴, let's have a look. Let's move over the face cam. He's overranked 445, so he's very close to my overall ranking. Captain Butters. That's probably a bit of a mistake. He accidentally maybe Captain Butters. That's a bit of a shame. But Luke Ryan, very good. Defense, pretty good. He brought in Ridley this week. That's a nice trade in. Or did he bring him in last week? I forgot. I think he got him in last week. Kept Sam Darcy. He'll be happy with that. Didn't beat his break even, but at least nullified it a little bit, so he didn't go down too much. Sarong was a little bit quiet. Unfortunately, he had Dawson, which is a shame. But yeah, hopefully he can move up the ranks heading into round 13. The highest scorer this week was Optimus Prime with 2197. Very nice. 696 is his overall ranking. Very nice to see. Now, who went well for him? Yeah, Fife turned up. Love to see that. Sexton. Now, I would bring in Sexton as a forward option. He looks pretty good. He could be a keeper, but he's got around 14 buys, so I don't know. But yeah, he's been good the past few weeks. Young turned up, which is nice. 𝐬𝐿𝐴 could look to move him on. Zach Reid, sorry, he's injured in the VFL. You hate to see that once again. Yeah, just overall really consistent scores. Didn't have any really bad scores from Primos like I did. So that's good to see from Optimus Prime moving up into the top 700. And we'll have a quick look at my Rolls Macca fantasy leagues and have a look at this. 𝐸𝐴𝐿𝐴, you love to see it. He's pushed up into the top 100, representing the Rolls Macca crew really well. Good stuff to see. Mullins a virgin. 71st overall. He got himself a 2063. That's bloody good, considering that it was a buy round. Jack Crisp, what a trade and he's been for owners. I don't know about him, but yeah, he's now put up really good scores. 115 his last 3 average. I'd look to bring him in, but he's got around 15 buys, so probably not. But yeah, just really consistent scores. 𝐸𝐴 Dawson, but he went bang on Luke Ryan. How about that? That is a terrific captain's choice. He would have been laughing, especially watching that final quarter. Max Holmes, my God, I was so close starting Max Holmes this year. Let me move my camera. So close from starting Holmes myself. He's been a ripper, so... yeah, he got another ton. And yeah, really good forward line. Dylan Moore went bang. Alex Sexton, another ton for the owners. Yeah, solid stuff there from 𝐸𝐴𝐿𝐴. Let's hope he can push towards a hat. And that's pretty much it from me, everybody. Hopefully you lot are going well in your SuperCoach and fantasy campaigns. Let me know how you lot are going down below in the comments. And who are you going to bring in this week for your trades. Happy to answer questions as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me, everybody. Hopefully you did enjoy. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you did go on to enjoy. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later, fellas.